So, as I said, in regards to the Dodge Demon, it's basically like the list of shit that you have to know about the car just keeps growing and growing and growing. So let's take a look at the actual disclosure agreement that the customer has to sign before buying this damn thing. 1 second. Xbox mute. Xbox mute. Thank you. Okay, so basically, yes, this is actually real. Jalopnik actually posted this, so I went and actually printed it out. And let's go through these things really quickly. And just to remind you, when you actually sign this thing, you have to sign it in blood. You're not allowed to sign it in pen. And basically, yes, you are pretty much, you know, signing over your soul and your first newborn and whatnot and whatnot. But we're not going to really talk about that. Satan can go over the details later. So anyway, 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon, quote, the vehicle, is the automotive industry's first and only purpose-built street-legal production drag car. The Demon is a unique performance vehicle with unique characteristic parts, systems, and capabilities, and performs unlike any other vehicle. It is imperative that you understand and acknowledge the unique characteristics of this vehicle before purchasing or driving. Please refer to the vehicle's owner manual, user guide, etc., etc. Now, we already know that nobody's going to read any of that shit because, you know, my manuals for just about every car I've bought, those things sit in the glove compartment untouched. They're probably the cleanest part of the car. So anyway, customer hereby acknowledges and agrees that. Okay, let's go through these things. First of all, it says customer shall have full responsibility and shall assume risks related to the use of the features and applications in the vehicle. Okay, so we can agree on that. So you have to initial right there where it's yellow. It says customer shall read and fully understand the owner manual. Now, you already know that shit's not going to happen, but just so you'll hurry up and give me the goddamn keys, I'm going to sign it anyway. So there you go. That's another initial. So it says, if factory installed passenger and or rear seats of the vehicle are or have been removed, no person or persons shall ride in those seats. Okay, first of all, let me stop right there. How many of you saw that movie Death Proof that was, you know, co-produced by Quentin Tarantino? Whenever I think of the fact that this car can come without a goddamn passenger chair or passenger couch, I think of that movie, specifically the kill scene where he puts a young girl in the car and she's in this little booth, and what's his name? Stuntman Mike is driving the car, and he kills women by putting them in the passenger seat where there's no seat, and they rattle around the car while he's taking sharp turns until they batter their brains out all over the inside of his car. And that's how he gets off. And if you haven't seen that movie, Death Proof, I really suggest you go and take a look on YouTube. I can't post the actual video in my video because I'll get a copyright flag. So what you can do is look at the URL that I add to this video. So basically, whenever I think of this car, I mean, my question is how many people are going to die as a result of buying one of these cars? And you do realize that if you die in a Dodge Demon, your soul goes straight to hell. It doesn't matter if you're the Pope or whatever. It just doesn't matter. You go straight to hell. So anyway, if the vehicle is not equipped with a passenger seat, passenger shall never attempt to install a passenger seat because the passenger will not be properly protected. Because you never know. You get some of these idiots who would literally try to take some seat from some other car, like a, you know, put that car, first of all, I don't even think you could use regular racing seats in this car because unless you're getting those seats from FCA, you can't be certain that those things won't like get torn out when this thing does a goddamn launch. It's ridiculous. So anyway, customer shall never use any track use features, functions, equipments, or parts on public roads or any other prohibited area. The intended use of track use features, functions, equipment, or parts is for race vehicles on race tracks. So basically what they're saying is when you accidentally kill somebody with this car, we had nothing to do with it, and you signed over something saying that you would never do this shit when you're not on a drag strip where it's safe. The vehicle's Nitto NT05R drag radial tires, the drag tires, meet United States Department of Transportation requirements, but they are not intended for highway use. You see that shit? They are not intended for highway use. As the expected miles of wear from the racing compound is greatly reduced. So here's my question. How many of you idiots are going to buy this car and then race this son of a bitch on the highway and then realize that your tire explodes and then sends you hurtling into a crowd of people as if you were a Mustang buyer? I don't know yet, but, you know, I'll be waiting and reading the news. Okay, so the drag tires are not recommended for driving in wet weather conditions. All right, first of all, I made a video a little while ago about the mere fact that you're not supposed to drive these tires on ice, snow, and now you're finding out you can't drive these tires really on highway either because they wear too quickly. And then I got a lot of negative comments from, you know, these hidden jerk-offs on the internet who don't seem to understand that I do this as a hobby and for fun, and that I'm being as serious as the source material allows me to be. I get all these negative comments. I didn't even bother replying to them. I didn't even bother erasing them. I think one of them I just told him to kiss my ass. But anyway, that's just what you're dealing with. Okay, number 7. The drag tires are not recommended for driving in wet weather conditions. So that means that there's no rain driving. Now, when I bought my Hellcat, I drove that son of a bitch home in a snowstorm, and that thing acted like it wanted to kill me. Imagine now that you can't drive this thing in the rain or the highway at all. So it's obvious what you got to do. You got to get yourself another set of tires. But here's my problem. If anybody sees me driving a Demon, they're going to expect to see the Demon tires. They don't want to see me with some other set of Hellcat wheels. They're going to expect to see me with the Demon tires. And you know what the problem is? They're going to think that if I don't have the Demon tires, they're going to think that I just added a hood from eBay and that I just threw a Demon badge on the side and I'm making a fake Demon out of a Challenger Hellcat. So the problem with this damn thing is you really can't drive it on the street unless you go and get yourself, you know, all-season tires that are as large as these Nitto NT05Rs. And I don't think you're going to be able to find those easily because all of this shit is custom. And I just made a video talking about the cost of brake repair on a Hellcat. A brake job for just the front is $2,300. And that's because the rotors are $975 each. Can you imagine what that shit is going to cost on this car? I can't even imagine. I can't wait to find out. All right, there can be definitely hydroplaning, they say. And you don't want to slide into a bus stop filled with kids. And that will happen, and all of their souls will go straight to hell. Because, you know, this car is, you know, manufactured by evil. All right, customers shall not move the vehicle in temperatures below 15 degrees Fahrenheit with the drag tires. I think it's obvious that you can't drive this thing on water, you can't drive it on ice, and you can't drive it in snow. And on top of that, you can't drive it on the highway. And on top of that, you can't drive it when it's cold outside. But most people who've dealt with cars like this already know that. All right, customers shall always inspect the drag tires for signs of cracking and damage before use. Yeah, well, you know, all of those years of learning when I worked at Goodyear about how to properly inspect tires has led me to this moment in my life where every single time I want to drive my Dodge Demon, I can do a thorough multi-point inspection of my tires. In short, what I'm trying to say is somebody's going to sign off on this shit, and you know goddamn well they have no intention of ever looking at those tires because they'll pretty much forget. So anyway, customers shall always inspect. Customer understands that vehicles in the following colors, B5 blue, indigo blue, plum, crazy, FA green, will not be available until Q1 of 2018. So what are they saying? They're saying, well, guess what? If you pay us now so you can get one, don't expect that shit to arrive like anytime soon. So when the first guys get their red Demons, well, guess what? You're still going to be waiting for yours. And they'll be doing burnouts and wheelies and loop-de-loops and shit on the drag strip. And you will not have yours until Q2 or 3 or possibly 4 of 2018. Customers shall not tighten the lug nuts fully until the vehicle has been lowered to the ground. Note that lug nuts should be fully tightened prior to operating the vehicle. Okay, so it says customers shall not tighten the lug nuts fully until the vehicle has been lowered to the ground. Note that the lug nuts should be fully tightened prior to operating. Okay, so all you basically have to remember is when the car is halfway up in the air, don't tighten that shit. When it goes on the ground, tighten it. And if you don't, it's your ass. Okay, 13. The undersigned customer for themselves and their personal representatives and heirs and next of kin voluntarily acknowledges and agrees that if he or she has read, fully understands, and voluntarily signs this customer acknowledgement and agrees that no oral representation, warranties, statements... What the fuck? I'm going to sleep reading this shit. Wait, the vehicle itself and the effect of purchasing the vehicle. They make it like I'm a goddamn lawyer. I don't know jack shit about the law except for what I saw in Judge Judy. Let me just hurry up and sign this shit so you can give me the keys. I don't even know what this shit means right there. It says, statements or inducements apart from the foregoing have been... What? All right, anyway, I'm going to keep going. The undersigned customer is executing this document knowingly and voluntarily. Customer hereby assumes all risk associated with the vehicle. See the owner's manual. You signed off your life and you're next of kin to this son of a bitch. For residents of the state of California only, a runaway welfare state that is taxing all of its middle class out of the state and forcing them to go to Washington, Oregon, and Colorado, among other surrounding states, so that they can continue voting Democrat and then wonder why they lose elections and get their asses kicked. And they think they have a popular vote, but the problem is the rest of the red states had all the electoral votes. But since half of these idiots never took a civics class, they don't understand the electoral college. So when they get their asses kicked, they're just going to blame Russia and Vladimir Putin. So anyway, a general release does not extend to claims which the creditor doesn't know or suspect to exist in his or her fate. I don't even know what I'm reading anymore. I really don't. Customer understands, acknowledges the significance and consequences of such specific... What? What the fuck does this mean? Even when you do... I never had this much trouble signing up for Windows 10. It's like all you had to do was just drag the thing all the way down to the bottom and just, you know, click. This is insane. What the hell is this? The undersigned customer voluntarily acknowledges with respect to the vehicle MSRP. Yes, the purchase price of the vehicle is at or below MSRP. So that means that these dealers who are trying to hike them up, God knows what kind of bullshit they're going to try to pull to get around this waiver right here. I don't even know. No, the purchase price of this vehicle is not at or below MSRP. And I acknowledge... Oh, so you can sign either one. So that means that if the dealers do mark this thing up, you're just stuck signing it anyway, and it really doesn't matter, but you're the one paying, and that's the free market capitalism, so just deal with it. So there you go. That right there, in 2 pages, is all of the shit that you got to sign off on in order to buy your first Dodge Demon. So whether you're rich or poor, it doesn't even matter. You're signing over your soul to Satan. So when you do a wheelie or some shit and crash into a crowd on Sunset Boulevard, all of this shit is going to be used against you in a court of law.